experienced this. And to Tamil Nadu, where the theatre owners have gone on a strike after the government locally tried to circumvent the GST, 28% tax on tickets, but they have now imposed a local body municipal tax of 30%. That means cinegoers will have to pay a whopping 58% tax on movie tickets. And clearly this has not gone down well with the theatre owners, because they know that they will have a severe backlash coming in from moviegoers and cinegoers who have not experienced this in the past. But ladies and gentlemen, to put things in perspective, as the protests continue and Kamal Hassan also comes out in support to back this move, the loot continues in Tamil Nadu. Will Edappadi Palaniswamy explain to the people why this is being done?
₹100 குறைவா இருக்கின்ற டிக்கெட்டுகளுக்கு 18%, ₹100 அதிகமாக உள்ள டிக்கெட்டுகள் வந்து 28%. இது வந்து ஜிஎஸ்டியினுடைய அந்த ஒரு வரி விதியை உட்பட்டு வருகின்றது. இந்த என்டர்டெயின்மெண்ட் டாக்ஸ் என்பது இந்திய அரசியலமைப்பு சட்டத்திலே கூறப்பட்டுள்ளதால் ஏற்கனவே உள்ளதுதான் இது வந்து குறிப்பிட்டிருக்கணும். எனவே அதிலே வந்து அவர்கள் வந்து ஒரு கருத்து மாறுபாடு இருக்கும்போது அது குறித்து வந்து ஒரு மறுஆய்வு செய்யப்பட வேண்டும் என்ற அந்த கருத்து வந்து அது வந்து விவாதிக்கப்பட்டு தான் முடிவு செய்யப்பட வேண்டும். விவாதிக்கப்பட்டு ஒரு நல்ல தேர்வு காணப்படும் என்பதை தெரிவித்துக் கொள்கின்றேன்.
Our strike is not against anybody. It is we are not able to run a theatre with these conditions. One side government of India is charging us 28%, 18 to 28%. Another side the government Tamil Nadu is charging 30%. So at the end of the day we are going to pay 58%. If I am going to get ₹100 from a ticket, 58% is going to be spent on this. What do I get? Nothing. Okay, with these conditions, I won't be able to run the whole show. We are not opposing anybody. We are requesting the government. We are closing down because we are not able to run. Please allow us to run.
So, what's your further steps you going to take?
Nothing. Up to the government to. Now the ball is in the government's court. They are going to call us. We'll discuss with them.
So,
fine.
Till now, what sort of steps have been taken?
We have approached all the ministers, everybody. Okay.
What sort of promises they given, sir?
We look into it like any other government official.
See, we tried to avert the strike owing to the producers' issues, like the producers who released their films in the last 2 weeks. So, keeping the interest of the producers in mind, their investment in mind, we requested them to postpone the strike. Strike is inevitable. Strike is definitely around the corner, because we cannot function as a industry, because 30% over and above the GST is definitely going to be a big toll. The government stands to make more money than the producer who produces the film. So there's... Yeah, in other states they have waived off every other tax other than GST, and certain states have accepted to give back a rebate back to the film industry, the share which they get out of the GST.
So other states are accommodating. Ladies and gentlemen, please understand, here on Times Now we exposed, and we're putting things in perspective, how despite a ban on illegal gutka, it still sells. And they're all making money, pocketing money. They're looting the people, selling cancer and carcinogenic substance to the people. But on the other hand, they also decide to loot the people further. Imagine you have to pay close to 60% tax just so that you can go and watch your movie at a theatre. That is what this government has decided to do in Tamil Nadu. And what is the justification for that? It was supposed to be one India, one tax. The states will also get a revenue out of that 28% that they levy on tickets that are priced more than ₹100. And less than ₹100, the tax slabs are different. But why impose a 30% local body tax? What is the rationale for that? Because the states are anyway going to get a cut of the GST or the indirect tax gains, because this is one India, one tax. So you're supposed to unite and help the people who are already going to face the burden because of the tax slabs within the GST. And then you say, no, these are people, let them pay, because we have to continue to loot the people. And that's exactly what's happening. 60% more. And you heard actor Vishal there coming out and saying that the government will make more money than the producers. The government will make more money than the people who put their heart and soul, as far as the Tamil Nadu film industry, to put out movies that entertain the masses. And who foots the bill? The masses. Who gets looted? The masses. Tell us what you think about this. Is this fair? And what's going on in Tamil Nadu? Is that fair to the people of Tamil Nadu? 022249905965998. This is an interactive show. Your views are welcome. And do you believe that other states, their models, their mechanics should also be followed in Tamil Nadu? Vijay Kristadas with us. Vijay, what are cinegoers saying? Do they believe that the theatre owners are actually fighting for their cause, the people's cause? Because why should somebody pay 60% tax over a movie ticket?
Well, Anand, obviously, see, how much ever the tax is levied on ticket prices, the ticket is going to remain 120 rupees. So for the theater, for the movie goer, for the movie buff, there's nothing much affecting them. So 120 rupees. So the theater owners and the association trying to fight, saying that, it's a huge loss. Obviously, it is for their own association. There is nothing to do with the public, because at the end of the day, the movie ticket prices remain the same, 80, 100 and 120 rupees being the highest amount of the cap. So there is no way that the theatre association can claim that, this is done for the people. So at the end of the day, there is one faction that says, if they feel, the theatre association feels that, there is too much tax taken on ticket prices, then why don't you ask the producers to ensure that the actors get paid less? This is the reason the remuneration for the actors, especially when you have A-grade actors like, you have your Kamal Haasan, you have your Vijay.
What is the logic here, Vijay? What is the logic here? You cap the rates of the tickets. You say that I'm going to tax 60% of the money that you're going to charge. You have already put a cap. They will revolt against the cap. Eventually, the people will have to pay more. Somewhere or the other, the cost will be passed on to the people. And why are you grudging somebody who's getting money for their star value or what they are able to do as a public draw for the movie? What the producer pays the actors is nobody's business. The government is nobody to come out and say the actors should earn less. Who is an Edapadi Palaniswamy or anybody else, the state finance minister, to come out and say, no, the government, these actors should earn less. The government should tax you more. What is the logic?
Well, Anand, see, that's a very valid point you've raised. But the other thing is, but since there is a cap to movie tickets, so there is no way that the viewer or the movie goer would be able to, be affected by this. So there is that the constant tussle that is going on. Even as we speak right now, Anand, there is the Movie Theatres Association, Producers Council, all are meeting at the Secretariat for a meeting right now, wondering, what to do, whether there can be a raise in ticket prices.
They will come out and say that's what will happen. It will become what is 80, 100 and 120 will become 100, 120 and 150 or perhaps more. At the end of the day, everybody else, eventually, if they say we are not going to remove the tax, the people will have to pay. It is an eventual conclusion that will happen. Tamil Nadu cinegoers have to be ready to shell out more, because somewhere or the other they'll exact this money, either as an entry fees or what they pay for their refreshments out there. Somewhere or the other, the cineplex owners will pass on this cost to the multiplex goer, to the cinema theatre goer. That is what will happen. And at the end of the day, everybody will pocket money. The people who will get looted will be the people, the masses. That's how it's going to happen. So let's not say what's the current status quo, because that will change. What we need to ask is, for what reason does this government want a local body tax of 30%? Especially on movie tickets. What is the logic behind that? That's the question. That is something nobody's been able to answer. Let's listen to what Kamal Haasan has to say. Vijay, stay with me on the phone.
All of us together. It's not right for me to speak alone. The whole industry is gathering together and they're going to speak together as one voice. Right. Calling a meeting. Not right for me to speak alone. The whole industry is gathering together and they're going to speak together as one voice. Right.
So the entire cinema fraternity is going to be speaking together very, very soon, is what Kamal Haasan says, but largely he looks like he's endorsing this strike. He's endorsing the fact that it is unfair to put the burden on theatre owners, on the producers, and eventually on the masses who actually make this entire industry and who make the stars who they are. So that's the question the government has to answer. Will they pass on the benefits, or what is the rationale for this 30% local body tax? We've got callers going across to Vijay after that. Our first caller is from Patna. Good afternoon. Good afternoon, Mr. Jha. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask one question.
Ji.
We have been pledging that we are having a welfare government since the independence. But does this welfare government want to continue the British era taxation policy on entertainment also? The poor people of this nation who don't have things to eat, who don't have anything to fall back upon, they have been taxed heavily, and now entertainment tax. Where are we going to? Where is this country being led to?
Sir, this entertainment tax has been around for some time. We have not realized that, but it's good that we all realize that this is how हर तरह का tax लगा के हमसे पैसा निकालते हैं, लेकिन मिलता कुछ नहीं है हमको. That's what happens. Mr. Jha, thank you for calling in. Yes, Mr. Rao, go ahead, please.
I want to say that in order to discourage the cinema going and to encourage the improvement of the locality of the Tamil Nadu, this step has been taken perhaps. Because you see, there are so many people, there are so many ways you can see pictures in TVs and everywhere. And people are mad about these pictures too much.
So you are saying you reduce the number of cinegoers, then what's the point of imposing 30% tax if people will not come to the movies? Then there is no money to earn. So it's actually detrimental, Mr. Rao, but good. If that is your suggestion that people will stop going, but you're also going to run a lot of people out of business. You're also going to take away a mode of recreation, a mode of meeting and greeting and engagement. That is also going to happen. Sumansi Raman with us. Sumansi Raman, where do you stand? What is the logic behind this 30% municipal tax and the standard price of 80, 100 and 120 is not going to remain? Eventually, the burden is going to be passed on to the fan, to the moviegoer.
Yes, Anand, the burden is going to be passed on, but there's got to be some kind of rationale behind it because the increase now, post GST and the imposition of the 30% tax eventually for the local body now makes the total taxes go up in almost to 60%.
Yes.
Now, so that is really something which is going to be a huge burden. I mean, it's all very well for the theatre owners because eventually this is going to be passed on to the consumer, but they will suffer a loss of business because of an unreasonable level of tax. I think the key point is that the increase itself suddenly of 15% or thereabouts is something which is viewed as excessive. So there was already a fairly stiff tax being paid. I think entertainment tax was around 15% or so in the state. So now on top of that, now you have GST and the tax which the local body levies, which comes to 58% plus everything together comes to 60%, which is really, really excessive. And I think that is the reason why they have gone on strike. I mean, I don't agree with them going on strike without notice. They should have given notice because many small producers who brought out movies last Friday are going to be ruined by this, and it's not really fair on them to suddenly go on strike. But you can see what the logic behind the strike is.
Yes, and only a sudden measure like this is going to shock and perhaps get a reaction, evoke a reaction, because people otherwise would not have reacted and would have found a way to circumvent it, Sumant Raman. Because what's the logic behind a 30% municipal tax? Why do you want to impose a tax, especially on movies? And why charge them? Because you're actually supposed to pass on some of the benefits of the rebate that you would get on GST back to the cinegoers. That's what some of the other states are doing. But Tamil Nadu is not doing it.
No, there are two components to this, Anand. One is what theatre owners themselves can do, because if they're going to get input credit on this whole thing, then there is no reason why they cannot lower their prices and pass on some of the benefits. That is point one. Second is the 30% tax which has been levied under the local body head is making use of a loophole, because the state government cannot levy the entertainment tax. So what they're doing is they get the local body to levy the entertainment tax.
Right.
State government. So they're actually using a loophole in which allows the local body to continue to collect the tax.
Correct. So that's what they do. Every time there is a rule or a tax that comes into place, everybody first figures out how to circumvent it. What is the loophole? How can I break the law, or how can I circumvent it? That's what happens. That's the mentality that we have to shake. The Tamil Nadu government has just exposed that mentality. Sumant Raman, please stay with us. Actually, Sumant, thank you for talking to us. I'm dropping your line because we've got two of our viewers with us on the phone, and MR Venkatesh too. MR, I'll come to you. Please listen into what our viewers have to say. Sandeep from Hyderabad and Sundar Rajan is calling us. Yes, Sundar Rajan, go ahead, please. That phone line just dropped. Yes, Sandeep. Sandeep
yes,
from
sir, I'm calling from Sandeep from Hyderabad.
Yes, Sandeep, tell us.
These tax would be actually impel the markets of the people who are investing in what we call in the hotel sector over there, or it could be any ice cream parlor over there. If the people won't come over to the cinema hall, the people like me who has been invested something in a local parlor over there. So I won't get the people coming.
Yes.
I won't be getting the people over there.
Yeah.
And I'm the guy who has invested around 10 lakhs for a hotel over there, and I'll be losing a lot of money for that.
Very rightly said, Sandeep. Very rightly said, because not only loss of employment, revenue, but also perhaps a full cycle, which will now affect a lot of people because of these kind of measures that local bodies are taking or governments are taking to circumvent the GST. MR Venkatesh, please stay with me. I've got a caller from Dubai. I'll take that call and then I'll come to you, MR. This is Prasad from Dubai. Guru Prasad from Dubai. Yes, Guru Prasad.
Hello.
Yes, go ahead, please.
Sir, if the people are not accepting, I mean, if the price rise, if they are not accepting and the theatre people are going to close it, it's well and good. Well and good. Ask them to close it for how long they want. What's wrong in that? I mean, it is ridiculous. Everybody, tomorrow somebody else will come and say, we are not paying this. Somebody else will come and say, we are not paying that. That's not fair. And after all, everything is going to be borne by the consumer, not by them.
Correct. So, but why should the consumer pay 60% towards taxes, Mr. Guru Prasad? That's the point. You're already paying 28% GST. Why should you pay another 30% of local body tax? MR Venkatesh, thank you for your patience. Where do you stand?
See, very simple. I stand nowhere because GST at 28% is a levy by the state and the center. And the municipalities were entitled, and everybody knew this. And if you had read the entire arguments made by the Honorable Finance Minister Arun Jaitley, he said that all the municipalities, Jilla Parishad, Gram Panchayats, all the third layer of the constitution had the right to levy the taxes. And today Tamil Nadu municipalities have started levying it. So where is this outrage? I don't understand this. This is manufactured.
No, it's not. But the fact is that eventually it's the consumer who's going to pay. So the consumer now says state and center decide to pay 28% taxes. Now local body says 30% taxes.
Please,
60%
no, 1
on a
minute.
ticket.
That is a matter of calculation. Now, the right of the municipality to levy is an intra-constitutional affair. This was decided during the debate in the GST. If you had followed it up, no less than Arun Jaitley ji, who is a master in the constitution, said it is only an agreement between the state and the center. As far as the municipalities, which are the third layer of the constitution, the third tier of the constitution, they have got the right to do it, and there is a constitutional provision on this. Now, whether 30% is high, 30% is low, that you can always say whether going for a movie is a luxury or going to a movie is a necessity. And yes, then you will also argue, why don't we argue that the rates on liquor is very high, the rates on the cigarettes is very high. So this is not something that is something, in my considered opinion, you may have a different opinion, that this is not a necessity. So municipalities have also to get their money. So how do they clear their garbage? How do they clear their pay the municipal wages?
So why don't you're putting movies in the same bracket as alcohol and cigarettes and tobacco? Is that the case?
It's a luxury. It's a luxury.
Is it a luxury to go for a movie as a social outing where you're already paying a certain level of tax and levy, to tax that further and say, okay, let's just burden them?
That's why I'm saying, Anand, you may have a view that movies are necessary. I am saying that it is a luxury. We can debate it. But the fact of the matter is the right to charge 30% exists in the Constitution at this point in time. You can't deny that.
Right. MR, please stay with me on the phone. Let's listen into what our viewers think, because a lot of viewers are calling in. Praveen from Pondicherry with us. Yes, Praveen, go ahead, please.
Sir, this is against principle of one nation, one tax. And it is maximum central tax is GST is 28%. State Bank of Tamil is charging more than that, 30%. So we are making hue and cry about one nation, one tax, and you are charging around 58% for one commodity.
Well, that's what they're doing, Praveen. They're saying, see, you read the large print, you didn't read the fine print. The fine print is what MR Venkatesh says. One nation, one tax, yes, but between state and government, local body is the third layer, and that is outside. That is their purview is different, so they will levy additional tax is what we are saying. So that's there in the fine print. Perhaps we did not read it, or we did not consider it, or when they said it, we did not realize what it implies. MR, please stay on. Sunil also with us on the phone from Thrissur. Yes, Sunil.
No, I just want to say one thing. This is all just blackwashing ourselves, making fool of people. There has been ample time for people to get ready for this GST. It things were already told to in all the state governments what is to be done, what is not to be done. Here in Kerala, you must have seen a lot of matters. The government is going outright against the central government. I don't know if there is any rules that the state government can always go against the central government, whatever be the reason. Over here, we know clearly what the reason is. It is just a change of ideology between CPM and BJP.
Very well.
The government is always against the central government.
Yeah, no, it's always. No, but my point is, Sunil, thank you for calling in, MR. My point is, sir, at the end of the day, it's the people who will pay, who have to foot this bill. So an event of recreation at a time of going out, perhaps even socializing and taking a few hours away is now considered a luxury and equated and said that you want to do that. If you don't want to watch it on television, then you go ahead and pay 30% more. Now, is that fair on the people is my question, MR. I think we've lost MR Venkatesh. I will try and get him back on the phone because he had a very interesting perspective. Kamesh from Chennai with us. Yes, Kamesh.
Good afternoon, Anand.
Good afternoon. Go ahead, please.
Last time I missed you. You're being the superstar times now.
Thank you. Go ahead, please.
Anand, just pertaining to the tax levied on the cinema house, okay, as Emma Venkatesh rightly said, it is not a necessity, okay? It's like a pastime. Watching movies is a pastime. And these people are making hue and cry of nothing. You see in detail. Okay.
So you believe that it is a pastime, people are making hue and cry of nothing, but we forget that moviegoers also are a reason why there are a lot of other people who earn their livelihood just around one particular movie in a cineplex or a movie house or at a shopping mall which also has a movie a cineplex. Imagine the people who have actually set up their shops there, the mom and pop or the popcorn shops and the other shops who've paid a certain amount of money and who earn their livelihood out of this. So if you think that it's not a big deal to go to the theaters and increase the footfalls, I think we need to read the history of how the movie industry functions. The more the people go to the theaters, that's when the movie industry thrives. Otherwise, you'll have an entire entertainment industry which will go into a gridlock. That's what's going to happen. We have to think this through. It started with 30% local body tax, but this is a bigger problem that stares in our face. We have to realize how big this issue can be. Thank you. Thank you for calling in at this point. Taking a very, very short break here on Newsroom 365. News continues on the other side.
पैसा कहाँ से आता है? पैसा फिर पाकिस्तान दे।
पूरे दुनिया के अंदर अगर पाकिस्तान पैसा दिए तो गुनाह है नहीं।
For Pakistan, he's a freedom fighter, but Salahuddin nails Islamabad, admits he bleeds India from Pakistan soil. His admission is on tape, but Pakistan continues to deny. Isn't it time for Nawaz to put global terrorists behind bars? After delaying the 2611 probe, now Pakistan tries to obstruct the Samjhauta blast case, wants more time to send witnesses to India. Terrorists target forces again. Police party attacked in Anantnag. One policeman critically injured in the strike.
I am not the face of opposition for 219, neither I can be.
Cracks in Mahagathbandhan. Nitish takes a jab at ally Congress, says an alternative narrative needed, opts out from being the face of opposition in the 2019 race. The loot continues in Tamil Nadu. Theatre owners go on strike after the state levies an additional tax of 30%. Cinegoers will have to pay a whopping 58% tax on tickets. DMK raises Times Now's Gutka scam expose in the assembly. Face off with the speaker as he refuses to entertain them. Angry, Stalin walks out. She played the victim card in court, but Mumbai police challenge Indrani's claims, say they have proof of her inciting violence. Karnataka government gives in to pressure from pro-Kannada activists, remove Hindi cineages from the signboards at metro stations. Times Now tracks Prime Minister's historic visit to Israel. Terror tops agenda as Modi becomes the first Indian Prime Minister to visit Israel. News is coming in even after two terrorists were gunned down. These are visuals coming through where the locals are trying to obstruct counter-terror operations. The security forces had to resort to aerial firing to try and disperse these protesters. This is coming in from the Bamnu village in Pulwama. Mir Farid will be joining us with more details. This is after we got the information that one terrorist is still holed up. Yes, Farid.
Yes, Anand, these are visuals coming in from the Bamnu village where you can clearly see there is violence in and around the encounter site. Once again, as we've seen in many such previous operations, locals trying to intervene, trying to save these militants. Now, there has been aerial firing and very heavy tear smoke shelling reported. 15 people have been injured. Two of them are said to be in a very serious state. They have been shifted out of the area. And these clashes, the intensity is only growing more. Forces have been dispatched to take control of the situation. As you rightly said, two militants have been killed, and at least one or two more are still holed up in that area. The operation is on to flush them out, but in the meanwhile, these protests and the build-up is only increasing around the encounter site. So this, again, is something that has been happening and it's only growing. So multiple challenges for the forces, for the security forces to take care of. On one side, they're battling the militants, and on the other side, they also have to take care of these protests. But they're only intensifying as I speak to you.
Well, we see they are a handful, about 20 or 30 out of these people, and all of them youngsters, all of them in their either teens, late teens or early 20s. That's what we see. These are youngsters who have been goaded into doing what they're doing right now, captured on camera. Unfortunate turn of events there in Pulwama in Bamnu. Thank you for the update. Let's move on here on Newsroom 365 and turn the spotlight away to what is nothing short of a moment in history. The first Indian Prime Minister to visit this country, which is very, very integral to the strategic and the developmental aspects of India. Prime Minister Narendra Modi in Israel. Shinjoy Chaudhary, our National Affairs Editor, is live right now, joining us live from Tel Aviv at this point. Shinjoy, take us through the mood on ground ahead of the Prime Minister's visit. We are also standing by for a briefing later this evening at around 5:30. Or you're in Jerusalem right now, Shinjoy. Take us through the mood on ground. And what is it that will top the agenda this time, this historic visit?
Well, your first question, the mood is very, very positive. All of Israel is waiting for Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Israel knows how important this trip is for them, and Israel knows that it has taken a lot for India to get to where it has. There's been a lot of talk going and toing and froing on this, but finally you had President Pranab Mukherjee last year, and you have Narendra Modi this year in a day. As far as the issues are concerned, well, there are a lot of things, but the shadow that is there over India-Israel is really terror. And terror comes from Pakistan to a very, very large extent. This is something Israel realizes, though it has concerns about Iran. There is also the issue of nuclear proliferation. And again, on nuclear proliferation too, India and Israel are together on this because, again, there is this shadow of AQ Khan. Apart from that, you need the higher mathematics of counter-terrorism to deal with these issues. So you have intelligence sharing, whether it's cryptanalysis, whether it's SIG intelligence, that is signals intelligence. You have things like that in the process. Besides, of course, defense is a bulwark. There is other issues like agriculture, like irrigation, like space, like cyber technology. That is where the next war could be fought. And India and Israel believes that this is something both countries have to do together. Israel has the technology, India has the manpower. The two countries have to do it together is the general feeling that is coming out of all this.
Well, there are a lot of synergies and a lot of areas and avenues that there can be mutually beneficial for both India and Israel. I'll come back to you in just a bit, Shinjoy. Let's just listen into Ambassador Pawan Kapoor, and then I'll come back to you.
It's with great enthusiasm that the Israeli government is looking forward to the visit of the Prime Minister, and I can tell you there's excitement all around the city and certainly here within the government and the people of Israel.
Also the fact that India and Israel both are victims of terrorism. Both countries have suffered. India, of course, enormously, particularly 26/11, where Israel also faced some problems. Clearly, this must be one issue that both countries are looking at very seriously, particularly after America.
Well, I think you're right. I mean, both countries are victims of terror, and we always discuss this subject. And let us not forget that in the Mumbai attacks of 2008, there were 6 Israelis who lost their lives. And that is something that we always keep in mind. So this is something that will be discussed, and we'll certainly share views on what we can do to deal with this menace together.
Besides terror, the higher mathematics of all this, whether it's intelligence sharing, whether it's counter-terrorism, whether other issues, surely all this will come up, whether it's cyber terrorism, which has to be fought, and of course, issues like space.
Yes, you're absolutely right, but I would like to say that the range in the agenda is very broad and wide. We are really discussing now with the Israelis everything from defense to development. And when I say development, I mean agriculture, I mean water, I mean science and technology, I mean startups in innovation and space. So it's a whole wide agenda, and lots of things will come up for discussion when the two prime ministers sit down together.
So clearly, a very, very successful meeting is being looked at. You've done part of the spade work.
No, I think it's certainly the Prime Minister who has got a wonderful chemistry and a wonderful sort of sense of rapport with Prime Minister Netanyahu, and that's what's responsible for them, two of them coming together. They've met earlier a couple of times, but this is the first time they'll be meeting on Israeli soil, and we're all looking forward to it.
The word is, Shinjoy, I'm sure you would have understood that even from the interactions with Ambassador Kapoor, that there will be no big defense deal announcements during this trip. What will be the announcements that we should look forward to? Because they've said that defense is something which is an ongoing process, because there are a lot of technicalities and nitty-gritties that need to be worked out. But in terms of communication, in terms of strategic partnership, in terms of technology, especially helping in agriculture, building of smart cities, etc., can we expect some major announcements?
Well, first of all, there's something about a $40 million R&D fund, research and development fund, that is likely to be announced. There is certainly going to be announcements on terror. Certainly, Pakistan is likely to be mentioned as far as terror is concerned, as the epicenter of terrorism. There will be definitely talk on terror. There will be talk on nuclear proliferation. how that there is a nuclear arms bazaar that AQ Khan and his people are involved in. That has affected not only India, it has affected Israel and several other countries of the world. All these issues will certainly come up as far as the strategic level is concerned. There are other things. There will be a lot on space that will be looked at. There will be a lot of cyber issues that will be looked at as well. Anand?
Well, thanks for that update, Srinjoy. We'll come back to you very soon, and I'm sure there will be a lot of questions that will be posed to the Israeli Foreign Ministry and also the former ambassador later this evening in that press conference around 5:30 p.m. India time. We join you again around that time. Thank you. Thank you for the update for the moment.
Two nations forged in adversity, beacons of stability and progress, united by war against terror, bound by 2,000-year-old history. After 70 years, the wait finally ends. Destiny beckons our nations. Modi in Israel from July 4. Exclusive coverage on Times Now.
And going across to these protests against the GST that have broken out in Surat, they have been ongoing around this Shah City area, the multiplex area in Surat, for more than about a week now. And we've seen time and again these protests intensifying, and many of the traders, the local traders and the small traders, coming out and protesting against the imposition of GST, with a lot of them being cloth merchants who have never been part of under the ambit of any kind of tax so far, and them coming under the tax they believe is highly unfair. These protests have been going on for quite some time, and now today the police cracking down before things got unruly. Kajal Iyer joins us with more details. Yes, Kajal.
The textile hub Surat has seen these strikes for around a month now, around a week now, with all of these protesters saying that they do not want to come under GST and that they find the GST quite unfair. And for a week now, most of the shops in the area have been shut down, and the textile merchants have been sloganeering and also striking work. But today, as we saw, the entire strike turned ugly when the police also started cracking down on them. There was a mild lathi charge is what we are being told, and the police had to take this action because the mob seemed to be getting violent and they did not have any other means of crowd control. But clearly this is something that was not expected from Gujarat, which generally has supported most of the new tax regimes that have been brought in by the government. But this time around, the textile hub has seen a strike for more than a week, which has also led to a loss of several crores of rupees.
Well, thanks for the update, Kajal. Moving on, more news coming in. And that is the former Deputy Chief Minister of Bihar, Sushil Modi, coming out, and he is speaking with the media after the BJP MPs have approached the Election Commission calling for a cancellation of Tej Pratap's membership. We will try and play out Sushil Modi's reaction. These are visuals that's just coming in. We will try and play out the... We'll try and play out the soundbite in just a bit and also get a reaction on the same from Shyam Sundar. Very clearly, the BJP MP is coming out and saying that they have revealed the assets of the... He didn't reveal the assets in 2015 State Assembly polls affidavit, and they have demanded that Lalu's son, Tej Pratap, be disqualified. I'm just going to see if we have one of our correspondents on phone, either from the National Capital or from Bihar, to give us more details. We're also standing by for a reaction from Sushil Modi, who has spoken soon after meeting with the Election Commission before he made his way out. Let's see if we can play that out. Aditi Anandarayanan now joins us with more. Yes, Aditi.
In fact, Anand, this particular delegation of the Bharatiya Janata Party led by senior BJP leader Sushil Modi has just come to an end. In fact, they have submitted a memorandum to the Election Commissioner along with few documents which show that there is a land which was purchased by Tej Pratap in the year 2010. On that particular land, there is a showroom that has been built by the name of Lara, which are the initials of Lalu Yadav. Tej Pratap did not disclose any details of this particular stretch of land which is in Aurangabad. He had bought this land in a mere sum of money, and there has been something wrong because of which he failed to disclose the details of the Aurangabad land and the three-storied showroom that has been built by Tej Pratap Yadav. Now, two key demands that have come out from Sushil Modi and other leaders of the BJP to the Election Commissioner is, number one, that for primarily Sushil Kumar Modi should be dismissed and suspended as a sitting member of the Legislative Assembly in...
Aditi, we've got the reaction from Sushil Modi. Let's listen in.
श्री जैदी साहब उनके दो अन्य सदस्य मौजूद थे, उनको ज्ञापन दिया है, जिसे मांग किया है कि श्री तेज प्रताप यादव जो लालू यादव के पुत्र हैं और बिहार सरकार के स्वास्थ्य मंत्री और 4 विभागों के मंत्री हैं, वरिष्ठ मंत्री हैं, उन्होंने 2015 के चुनाव लड़ते समय जो अपनी संपत्ति का ब्यौरा दिया है, इसमें जानबूझकर औरंगाबाद की 45 डिसमिल जमीन जो उन्होंने 54 लाख में 2010 में खरीदी थी, उस तथ्य को उन्होंने छिपा दिया है। ये जनता के साथ धोखा है। जब आपने शपथ पत्र दाखिल किया और जब शपथ पत्र दाखिल करते हैं तो आप एक प्रकार से प्लेज लेते हैं, आप ओथ लेते हैं और अपने शपथ पत्र में जानबूझकर औरंगाबाद की अपनी संपत्ति के ब्यौरे को छिपा दिया। जिस संपत्ति को आपने 2010 में खरीदा था, जिसका पेमेंट चेक से हुआ, जिस जमीन पर 3 मंजिला लारा डिस्ट्रीब्यूटर्स, लारा यानी लालू राबड़ी डिस्ट्रीब्यूटर्स का 3 मंजिला शोरूम बना है, हीरो होंडा का शोरूम है, और इतनी महत्वपूर्ण प्रॉपर्टी को, संपत्ति को आपने चुनाव आयोग के सामने दाखिल किए गए ब्यौरे से छिपा लिया है। इसलिए हम लोगों ने सारे सबूत दिए हैं, जो जमीन के खरीद के दस्तावेज हैं उसमें लगाया है, उनके चुनावी एफिडेविट को लगाया है और चुनाव आयोग से मांग किया है कि यह आपराधिक मामला बनता है और इसलिए जहां एक और सेक्शन 125A जो आरपी एक्ट है उसके तहत उन पर आपराधिक मुकदमा दर्ज किया जाए।
So that's it. So they have gone ahead and lodged that complaint. Now we'll see how the Election Commission reacts. This just around the time that Nitish Kumar has sent across a message to the Mahagathbandhan saying that there's no point forming an alliance if you don't have an alternative narrative and you don't have a plan in place. How are you going to take on the ruling establishment? And he said that I am not part, or I'm not the opposition face for 2019 at all. So clear indications there that all is not well in that Mahagathbandhan between the JDU, the Congress and the RJD. Moving on from the story, a quick check of some other national news now.
Lies are like a house of cards. Eventually, they all fall down.
Why is it that all these suspicious reports that pointed towards a Pak link were disregarded, and why a Hindu terror angle was injected?
Viewership fixing decimated by the truth, because there are no shortcuts to credibility.
K. Govindraj's diary and his deposition to the Income Tax Department is in the possession of Times Now. Can you deny that these are names of Congress party leaders?
And there's no eclipsing the nation's number one.
Should the BCCI and the administration have handled it better? And they perhaps needed a better statement to come out with more clarity into what really went on.
All the states have sat together and then they have passed the GST. So if Sanjay Nirvam says BJP ki bewkufi, it's not BJP ki bewkufi, sir.
Times Now, the undisputed leader.
Quick check of some other national news now, where Times Now expose on the illegal sale of gutka in Tamil Nadu with the blessings of cops and mantris is creating ripples in state politics. The DMK staged a walkout yet again from the Tamil Nadu Assembly today. This after the Speaker rejected their plea to take up discussions on cancer for cash expose. In a huge setback for Himachal Pradesh Chief Minister Veerbhadra Singh, the Delhi High Court has dismissed a plea filed by him and other accused seeking quashing of proceedings registered against them by the Enforcement Directorate in connection with a disproportionate asset case.
The High Court has today upheld the powers of the ED to initiate proceedings. This in fact judgment has larger impact on the authority of the ED, because the High Court has said that since this is a cognizable case, it cannot be said that the ED cannot initiate proceedings or freeze assets of a person who is accused of having accumulated disproportionate assets.
The Supreme Court has turned down Justice Karnan's bail plea. Karnan will now continue to remain in jail. Remember, earlier, the Narendra Modi-led government had favoured strictest action against him. The news tightens around the Trinamool Congress as more and more netas are being summoned by the CBI in connection with the Narda sting tapes. After Kolkata's deputy mayor, his brother and the Trinamool Congress MP Sultan Ahmed appeared before the CBI to record their statement. Amidst the ongoing turmoil in Darjeeling, all schools have decided to extend vacations for students in the hill town. Earlier, all boarding schools had evacuated their students, fearing escalation of fight between Mamata Banerjee and the Gorkhas. And hours after he was caught on tape abusing the police in an inebriated state, Gurugram cops have filed an FIR against Haryana politician's relative. Tell us what you think about the immersive experience that you have enjoyed here on Times Now. www.youtube.com. Times Now Immersive Live is what you have to search on YouTube. You get onto that channel, experience the 360-degree feel here on Times Now, here of the Times Now newsroom. Tell us what you think on viewertimesnow@gmail.com or on our Twitter handle @TimesNow. With that, we wind up this edition of Newsroom 365. Swati joins you with the afternoon prime time up next.